This Christmas, I received this lovely new watch. I got my first wristwatch also as a Christmas gift. I was 9, and it made me feel like a grown-up. I really felt mature when someone would ask for the time, flick of the wrist, I gave it to him. But what I really loved about that watch was that it glowed in the dark. When I would put the watch up to a lamp, and I'd wait a little bit, and then I'd turn off the light, the face would glow for a few minutes. You could tell time in the dark. How cool was that? Eventually, though, whatever light the watch had captured on its chemically treated dial, it faded. The watch required a direct light source in order for it to work its magic for me. And after it faded in the dark, the watch needed to be placed close to a light again so that it would once again glow when the lights were turned off. I'm reminded of that watch today as I heard the readings. The Feast of the Epiphany, along with Christmas and next week feast of the Baptism of the Lord, it is a feast, all of them, of God's presence among us. God provides a light for the people in the dark, and those upon whom it shines, we glow when we receive it. Today, the Magi, usually associated with wisdom, they come close to the light. They do homage. They are illumined by what they see, and their lives are forever altered. For as St. Matthew tells us, they departed for their country by another way. You see, we can't follow the same old ways once we have seen ourselves and the world by God's light. And the Isaiah reading that we heard also sounds as if people just emerged from the darkness. A light has been switched on for them. Your light has come. The glory of the Lord shines upon you. It's wake-up time for those who have lived in the gloom of the shadow of death. A call goes out to those who have been laid low. And what's the reason for this call? Where did the light come from? It's certainly not coming from the people's integrity or ingenuity. That darkness is profound. It is likened to the darkness that covered the abyss before the creation. It is only God who can create a light that can dispel such darkness. The prophet reminds us that the darkness still lingers. See, he tells us, darkness covers the earth and thick clouds cover the people. But that's not the end to it, because God will not let the darkness reign supreme. For believers, there is always light. For God is coming upon us to pierce the darkness of our sin and ignorance with a light to direct the steps of our long journey together. But with that great gift comes great responsibility. Others will walk by the light that we have received. Like those watches that I talked about, a light shines on us and we glow with that. Then it becomes our responsibility to reflect God's light for others so that they can tell what time it is in their darkness. Isaiah is anticipating the restoration of Jerusalem. That's a deed that the Israelites could only accomplish with God's help. And what a spectacle that's going to be. The crumpled city will rise up out of the darkness, and others, the Gentiles, They're going to see by this new light and be drawn to it. All the world will come to see that no one is an outsider to our God. No people are any better than any others. Someone has turned on a light, and those who once dwelled in darkness now get to see that open door. They approach and they enter, and they are welcomed by others upon who the light has already shone. That's the experience that the Magi received. The outsiders saw a light and led them to that open door. And on entering the house, they are greeted by mother and child. The year is very new right now, and there is still much darkness on the horizon. I know there was when I drove here this morning. And we look at the days and the months in front of us, and we wonder about how those suffering in severe economic collapse, how are they going to fare? When will conflict and strife in Iraq and Afghanistan and China and North Korea and Russia, our own government and our own church, when will all this strife come to an end? When will peace rule the people's hearts? Isaiah and the Magi remind us that God will not abandon us, but will shine a light on our dark winter days. Will all these things get better immediately? Hardly. But the Magi represent those of us following that God-provided light. It shines on the insiders and the outsiders. A path has been illumined. A way has been shown to us. And we must continue to live by that light that we've seen. We pray this Eucharist for clear minds. We pray for courageous hearts and a perseverance to stay on the path that Jesus has given us, the way of forgiveness and reconciliation and peace. If His is the path that we follow, we too are going to shine in the darkness. And we will become the guide to help others, to help them find their way home to a land and a people of light bearers. So maybe we shouldn't be that terrified by the darkness in our lives. Because if God is true to form, a light will appear in that dark and keep us on the track as we travel together. These Christmas time stories from St. Luke may be about angelic and cousinly visitations and pregnancies and births. But St. Matthew, here he's showing us the fuller side of the gospel. In both gospels, the God of salvation is acting on our behalf, and we are invited to respond with lives that are transformed by grace. When I was a kid, the feast of the Epiphany, that was always the day that we took down the Christmas decorations. But the Epiphany is not the end of the story for us. It is the beginning. What difference will it make in our lives? Will we accept the one who not only lies in the manger as a newborn, but also will be rejected? And throughout this liturgical year, we will hear Jesus preaching. We're going to observe his works, follow him to his death, and then experience his resurrection. This is going to be a year of epiphanies for all of us. As we leave church and the crib scene today, we have a confidence that no darkness we face can put out the light that burns within us. Shall we resolve to continually turn toward the light that we have seen and bow down to absorb that glow and then carry that light outside into the world? The Magi's quest reminds us that throughout our lives, we are continually searching for God. We can never settle back into a comfortable piety and complacency. There's so much more up ahead. So let's all pack up and keep searching. Let's do homage today to the Eternal and the Holy One, who comes to us in the form of a child, but then grows into adulthood and invites us to follow the one that we call the light of the world.